Welcome along to Inside The Hive. For the next hour, we are live here from Vicarage Road, taking you behind the scenes with everything Watford. Coming up on tonight's show, we're going to look at the highlights from the Under-15s Floodlit Cup final when they took on Crystal Palace earlier on this week. The Junior Hornets have been asking questions of the manager, Roy Hodgson. We've got another 60-second challenge coming your way. Plus, we'll see what happened when Herenio Gomez returned to the Vicarage Road at the weekend. Of course, as always, get your questions in for today's studio guests. You know how to do that by now. If you're watching live on YouTube, you've got the comments section below, and of course on Twitter, use the hashtag of Inside The Hive and at Watford FC, and you could be having your question asked live on the show a little bit later on. Right, of course I can't do this on my own. I have a regular guest every single week, the one, the only Mr. Tommy Mooney. Tommy, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Good evening.
How's your week been?
Been good, actually. I've had a bit of fresh air on the golf course.
Can tell, a little bit pink.
Yeah, a couple of rounds of golf. Game Monday, so a busy week, yeah.
Nice. Big game Monday coming up.
It's the Watford Football Club golf day at the Grove, yeah. Okay. So hence why I've been getting a bit of practice in. I haven't played an awful lot of late, and they've got my handicap off the system, so no way I'm playing anywhere near that.
What are they saying you are?
6.
And what do you normally play off?
Well, no, that's what I play off, 6.
Oh, 6.
Yeah,
okay.
But I've requested 18 because I've not played a lot. Yeah,
love that. Joining me and Tommy on the show tonight is this man.
Forward by Doyley. Oh, beautifully done by Graham. Oh, this is superb football from Watford and a magnificent goal. Just inside the Millwall half, and it's found a way through. This may be number 5. It's belted in by Graham. Business. Oh, Dogs didn't get it away, and Graham's in here for Watford. It's 3. It's inside here. Good chance. Look at Lloyd Doyley all on his own. Graham in the middle, waits for it, Graham, and it's in. By Woodard to do nothing.
They're not going to get one. Here's Graham. Well, that's definitely his goal, if there was any doubt about the earlier one.
Danny, great to have you on the show with us tonight. How are you doing?
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
No, pleasure to have you on the show tonight. Looking back at some of those goals there, you must have some great memories of your time here at Watford.
Yeah, looking back at the goals, it fills me with joy. I had two wonderful seasons at Watford, and I've fully enjoyed my time there. So looking back at them goals brings a nice little smile back to my face.
Yeah, some goals at Vicarage Road as well. Always a special ground. Tommy, you know what it's like to score as well. It's a special place when you're popping the goals in the back of the net.
It is when they're flying in, like Danny's were in those 2 seasons. Certainly, it makes it. It's an easy place to play when you're scoring goals, yeah. Danny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and listen, I think I scored quite a lot of goals at Watford, and
you know exactly how many you got. Every striker knows 40, exactly.
Yeah, all 41 of them. But yeah, listen, happy memories. It was a great time in my career at Watford, and like I said previously, I had 2 wonderful seasons there, and it's a club I still hold close to my heart.
Massively. Well, a little bit later on the show, we're going to really delve into your time here at Watford as well. So we're looking forward to that with you tonight on the show. And of course, if you're a fan, get your question in as well. It's always good to have your thoughts on the show. Of course, we're live here for the next hour. Let's kick things off then. Tommy, let's look back at the Brentford game at the weekend. Of course, you were on commentary duty on that one. Obviously, disappointing again.
Yeah, really disappointing. Obviously, it was another game like Leeds United was, where we had to win the game to put ourselves in a position where we can look more confidently at the table. But we failed to do it. We had the chances, very similar to the Leeds game. And then obviously, after we'd got the equaliser, to concede as late as we did to Janssen's goal, it was just, that extra kick that we really didn't need.
Danny, of course, the Premier League, a place that you've played as well. It's an unforgiving venue and an unforgiving league, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think most of my time at Sunderland was spent battling relegation. And when you're down there, you don't get the rub of the green, and you miss a chance, and then the team goes up the other end and scores last minute. So it's hard. But I think if Watford players stick together, they're not mathematically down now, so they've got to look at that as a positive and try and use that and fuel themselves to try and pick up some wins with the remaining 6 games or whatever they have left.
You just mentioned, of course, you miss a chance and then the team goes and scores the opposite end to you. How tough is that for you as a striker, being in those situations? Does that add extra pressure?
Yeah, it does. It does. I feel. I've had it on occasions where I've missed a great chance, and the team goes up the other end, and you think it's your fault that the team's losing, and it can play hard on you. But you've got to be strong. You've got to still get in the right positions as a forward, and hopefully, if the next chance comes along, you feel as though you're going to stick it away. Yeah,
Tom, we spoke about this the other week, didn't we? Sometimes you just then start trying different things and doing different things to try and find that goal.
Yeah, you start snatching at chances. If you're on a good goal scoring run, you just do everything naturally. You don't think about it, and when you don't think, you normally do the right thing. It's when you've got time to think about it that's invariably when you make mistakes. Certainly in front of goal, and Danny's more than qualified to talk about that. It's a difficult part of the game. Often said it's the hardest part to put it in the net, but ironically, we've had chances just before we've conceded in probably 3 of the last 4 games, including the Liverpool game. So that makes it all the more disappointing, and it also makes it harder for the strikers to moan about the defending if they're missing chances themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Danny, obviously you mentioned that time at Sunderland, you were kind of fighting those relegations. What was the kind of key turning points for you? Was there a particular element to the way you trained, or was it just down to the luck of you just managed to pick up a win and then all of a sudden that 3 points just really changes the mood?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at some of the fixtures we had at Sunderland to stay up was, everyone had written us off, and we kind of were going into every game as underdogs. We had Manchester United away, 1-1-0, Chelsea away, 1-2-1. When the pressure was kind of a little bit off, even though we were still fighting relegation, everyone expected Chelsea to win, Man U to win, but we ended up taking the points. And once you get one win at this stage of the season, it really can give you that belief and push you on with the remaining games.
When you get results changing like that and get wins where you're perhaps not expecting it, Dan, do you think that do you feel the difference in the dressing room, and do you think that that's what takes it out onto the match pitch?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you can pick up results away at Man U and away at Chelsea, you've got to get belief from that. You've got to gain belief as a squad of lads that you can actually physically get out of this situation, and that's all it takes at this point in the season. You get one win against whoever it is, you're more capable of stringing 2 or 3. Decent results together, and then you're sort of sucking everyone back into the mix.
Of course, a disappointing result of the weekend. Let's hear the post-match thoughts of Ben Foster.
City away next, Chelsea away in your last game of the season, a daunting run of fixtures coming up. But is there still hope in this Watford squad?
You got to have hope. You may as well. Like I say, if we can approach every game with that nothing to lose mentality, because now we are at that point. We're right on the line where there's nothing to lose. Every game we may as well just go into it and think, right, we may as well just go for this today. Today was huge. It was a massive blow. Honestly, it was a massive blow. We could have got 3 points today. I think that would put us 2 or 3 points behind Everton. There's a chance there. I think today was a massive blow. Hopefully we can recover in time for the Man City game next weekend. It's Man City away. It's tough. We know that.
In this final run-in, do you feel like you have a weight on your shoulders, a lot of responsibility, obviously as one of the most experienced in that dressing room, to lift these players up?
Yeah, I will. That's me anyway. I'm the guy who's always kind of got a smile on my face, even if I want to have one or not. I've got to put it on. It's a mask that you've got to wear sometimes, and I'll be like that all week long as well. Just getting the lads going. Like I say, it's a daunting trip to go up to Man City and play against them, especially when you're struggling. The confidence is low, but if we can replicate that second half performance, we'll have a chance at least.
Well, here we go. 6 fixtures left. Man City and Chelsea, of course, those difficult standout ones that really kind of pick out there. But as Danny's just mentioned, of course, sometimes those games where not as much expectation on them, but there's still 4 games in there where there's chances.
Yeah, you have to say, and we have to be honest about it and say Manchester City and Chelsea away from home, which is our next and our final game of the season, are very, very tough games. And you wouldn't expect, nobody will expect Watford to go there. But you look at the other games and you think there's 12 points at stake. They are winnable games, certainly the 3 home games and Crystal Palace away. Now, what you need to win those games is you need to find a little bit of positivity within the dressing room that then take it over the white line onto the pitch. And you know, whilst it's not nice viewing looking at the league table, with 4 games that you think we could win if we could just find that form, we know that we have to find it immediately. We can't wait until for another 2 or 3 weeks. So Ben's a little bit better than I was at wearing that mask when he's disappointed. Everybody knew when I was disappointed. So fair play to Ben for doing that, but he needs to get others to go along with him, and they need to be at 100% in every game that there is left.
Danny, how important isn't it when it's still mathematically possible? You've got to keep that hope, haven't you? As tough as it is and as disappointing as results are, when there's still a mathematical chance, you've got to keep believing.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, this is the Premier League. This is the best league in the world. If you're not mathematically down, you know, and you've still got something to fight for, you go out and give it your all. I thought Ben Foster spoke really well, you know, regarding the mask and smiling when, you know, maybe he doesn't want to. I think 3 or 4 of them need to do that. And try and uplift the place, try and get everyone's spirits up. And if they do that and they go to City, and you know, even if they get a draw, some sort of result that will spark them into life. And if you go to City, you take a point, you know, when you're not expected. Going into the Burnley game, you know, that'll fill the lads with full of confidence.
Obviously, as players, there's a responsibility to rally around each other and lift each other. From a management perspective, how tough of a job is that for Roy and Ray, Tommy? You know, lifting a dressing room where you're trying, you're damnedest to trying to get this to work, and it's just not clicking, it's not happening. But you've got to keep going.
It's extremely hard. I've said before that the successful dressing rooms that I played in was full of leaders. Certainly here during my time at Watford, it was full of leaders that drove each other on, whether that be when you cross the white line on a match day or whether you shut the dressing room door as you're going out to training. You know, you'd have arguments and some days fisticuffs on the training ground because we're all striving for that excellence and that extra 1% that they talk about now. But you have to drive each other on, and there has to be some players in that dressing room that give more than they have been previously, because it is still a possibility. It's a slim chance, we have to be honest and say that, but while we've got those 4 games, certainly the 3 games at home and the Crystal Palace away game, you have to think that if we can get 12 points out of them, then it's up to others to win games.
Danny, how important is it from the managers that you've worked with when you've been in situations like this to keep that positivity around the training ground and when you're on that training pitch, keeping you all believing?
Yeah, I think it's a given. The manager, you know, he's the leader of the pack, so to speak, so he has to be full of confidence and keep everyone's spirits up. But also as players, you know, you've got to take that responsibility on yourselves as well, not just the manager. You're the ones who cross the white line. And you're the ones who can go out and get the results, especially at this stage of the season when it's tough. You need 1 or 2 of them to step up and sort of grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And if they do that, and like I say, if they get 1 result, you know, that could spiral into 2, 3, 4 decent results. And if they do that, like Tommy says, the teams above, they have to make sure they're winning as well.
No, massively, of course. The next couple of games coming up in the next 9 days, so we'll see what the picture looks like after the next couple of games. Now, if you were here at Vicarage Road at the weekend, you would have seen a return of a Watford favourite. He joined us, of course, on Inside The Hive a little bit earlier on in the season. But this is what happened when Aurelio Gomez returned home.
It's very emotional because this football club means a lot to me. You gave me an opportunity to dream again one day in 2014 when I signed for the club. People was probably with a question mark, but we had and we built a great things together in this football club. And last 2 years hasn't been the best for everybody because of the pandemic. I left the club in a period that I couldn't say goodbye to you guys. That's why I'm here for. I want to be around the club, of course, but I want to say thank you very much for six amazing years that we had together, which 5 of them was in the Premier League, and we not only on the pitch, but outside the pitch. Between myself and you guys, I believe that we build a strong relationship, and I want to keep that forever. Thank you so much once again.
Well, it was great to see Aurelio Gomez, of course, at the ground at the weekend. And if you follow us on social media, you would have seen he was at the training ground today as well. So good to have him around for a few days here back in Watford. Tommy, you were at the game at the weekend. You could hear it on the footage there, the atmosphere inside the ground and singing his name. A really special time.
It was brilliant, and I was lucky enough to see him just outside of one of the lounges. He was just coming down the stairs, gave me a big hug, and I've not really met him too many times, so it was more a case of Inside the Hive and Hive Live last season where we spoken over video link. So yeah, it was really nice to see him, and we had 15-20 minute chat. I was nearly late for one of the corporate gigs because of H, so he did send his apologies, but it was just great to see him, and the reception from the supporters. I mean, when a player who loves the club like he does, clearly gets that reception, completely and fully deserved, and the chance to walk around the pitch, even though the sprinklers weren't his friends on the day.
Did he get taken out?
He got close to getting very wet, but his interview and everything, it was just a fabulous build-up. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we started the game as well as we did, because the noise level in the stadium stayed where it was when H was on the pitch.
Mm-hmm. Danny, of course, returning to former clubs. I know it wasn't too long ago. You were still playing, but have you had a chance to return to any former clubs yet? Is it a special moment when you can do that?
Yeah, I got invited back to Blackburn a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, because when I left there, the pandemic was going on as well, and there was no fans in the stadiums and stuff like that. So they invited me back to the Nottingham Forest game at home, and sort of a similar thing what Aurelio Gomez done there. So that was nice. Obviously, I had 4.5 great years at Blackburn, so it was a nice touch from the club to have me back.
Yeah, no, massive. So it was brilliant to see the atmosphere in the stadiums, as Tommy said. Fully deserved as well. When you having him on Inside the Hive earlier this season, you could tell how much Watford means to him, and just seeing that fan reaction was incredibly special for that as well. Okay, of course, at the weekend as well, we have lots of people inside the stadium who do an amazing job to help us on a match day. So let's take a look at a bit of behind the scenes action.
Alan, how long have you been a matchday volunteer for?
I started in the beginning of the 2007-8 season, the year after I retired. What's not to like? They were looking for volunteers. I've been a Watford supporter all my life. I started coming to watch Watford in the 1950s. They were still playing in blue and white in the old 3rd Division South. They used to clear the dinosaurs off the pitch before we started, but it was all good, and I've supported Watford ever since then. And to be able to do something with them and for them, again, it's actually quite a privilege, really. There's a group of us, about 6 or 7 of us. We meet up about 15 minutes before the game, get our stuff together, get our recognition bibs and that on. Then we'll walk along the front of the stand or the other areas set aside for disabled fans, introduce ourselves, take orders for what they would like to eat and drink, take their money, always a good thing. We will then, just round about the time the game kicks off, we'll go up, place the orders, and then we can sit down and watch the glorious Watford for about half an hour. Just before half time, 5-10 minutes before half time, we'll go and collect the orders and deliver them to our customers. Hopefully, they'll appreciate it.
Have you ever missed a goal or an important moment while volunteering here?
Oh yes, yeah, quite frequently. It happens. We're missing the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game. We also miss 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the first half as we deliver. But, it's a small price to pay, A, for getting in and volunteering and watching a game, and B, helping out a lot of people. It's also slightly good fun because I've also been knocked senseless by a football while I've been doing it as well. But again, what's not to like?
Well, great to see the volunteers on a match day then, as you would have just seen there as well, the number if you want to get involved and become one of our match day volunteers with the Community Trust. Tommy, we know special football is and it brings people together, but you could just see the enjoyment that those fans have being involved and part of the club on a match day.
Absolutely, and why wouldn't they? You know, it's sometimes that's the downside of football is there's only one game a week. People love going to the stadium and love seeing the games. Sometimes you get a disappointing result, but still they have the smiles on their faces, and you know the volunteers and all of the initiatives that the football club do. You know, myself and other ex-players are delighted to be a part of it and just try and make somebody's day.
Yeah, no, massively. Danny, fans are a massive part of football, aren't they? And I'm sure the clubs you've been at, you know, you have match day volunteers and people that are really passionate about the club and help out, and they're just invaluable, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what makes the football club. You know, having supporters in the volunteering and the helping fans and helping other people out on a match day is incredible. And like fans make the football, but volunteers they go above and beyond. And you know, every club needs them, and massive respect to all of them.
No, they certainly do. A massive thank you from us here on the show as well for all the great work that you do. Now, Danny, Tommy, do you remember playing under 15s football? Do you remember early into your career?
I was playing more rugby at under 15s level than I was football, to be honest. I was about 4'2", Danny. I really was until I was about 18.
How about you, Danny? Fond memories of playing your junior football?
Yes, of course, yeah. Some of the greatest times of your life playing football with your mates and stuff like that before it all got onto the serious side of going into the YTS at the time. So, yeah, I remember it fondly.
Cool. We had a very special day for our under-15s earlier on this week because they got to the Floodlit Cup final. They took on Crystal Palace, and here are the highlights.
Played your part to get here tonight. Okay, so be proud of what you've achieved. Moments like this, guys, playing in a stadium, is all part of the journey. Okay, wherever your football journey takes you, we don't know that yet. Okay, but you'll look back on nights tonight with great fondness. Okay.
Oh man, obviously a disappointing result, but how proud are you of the team today?
Absolutely, I think they've been absolutely fantastic from the start. To know where they were last year and where they've come this far, I think it's credit to them. Firstly, their attitude, their mindset has been absolutely brilliant from the start, from pre-season, which is the biggest thing that I think they've developed in, and then their learning capacity is unreal. So they absolutely deserve to be up, you know, to come up to this stage. Unfortunately, we couldn't show the qualities that we've shown throughout the tournament, which is disappointing, but we showed the resilience, I thought, showed the great character to stay in the game, which we talk a lot about. One of the things that don't go our way, which in the first half I felt it was a little bit like that, where we were not on top of the wave, but we had to defend, and we were quite resilient in doing that. And then we gradually grew, and we had a few, you know, into the second half, we had a few chances that in another day could have gone in, could have been a different game.
And what was said at the end in the dressing room and with everyone on the sidelines there in the huddle, was it all just positive?
Yeah, just saying everyone, because obviously from last year we've gone from being a team getting beat most weekends to a team that's gone to the final of the Southern final. I think it's great. I think we played excellent every game.
The main thing is we're proud of them. We're proud of them because they've come a long way from where they were at the beginning of the season, like I mentioned earlier, about their mindset in terms of how they've approached it, how they worked, and how committed they are, and they take every message, they listen, they want to learn. There's so many positives about them. So we obviously we highlighted those. To come to this stage is because of those little bits that they've been doing, the little extra bits. We talk a lot about, you know, their the way they train, making sure that they work the hardest every single time. So all these little bits that I think make a big difference, and you know, in this sort of games, are all positives.
Well, Danny, of course, we know Tommy was busy playing rugby at under 15s, but at that level, were you playing in stadiums like that?
No, I wasn't, no. What an incredible achievement for the young lads to be playing at Selhurst Park. And, you know, if that can't give you some sort of, you know, push to go on and want to be the best you can be as a footballer and playing them sort of stadiums, then nothing will. So fair play to the boys for reaching the final. Obviously, it's not nice losing, but from what the guys were saying there, the turnaround from last year to this year has been incredible. So hopefully they can keep that going.
Tommy, really interesting point from that. That's the start of their journey. How inspiring is that for them to use as a bit of fuel and a bit of fire to keep them going to do that? It's awesome.
It was really interesting seeing Richard Johnson in that circle, and that's what developing young players is about, helping them understand when they think they're at a low point, they're not, they're just at a learning point, and it's how they use that to motivate themselves in the future and hopefully one day become pros and have a career in the game. Jono and I and all the other players, we'd have a circle like that every day in training when we were approaching the playoffs. So I know what Jono's like in the circle, and he's a good leader.
Yeah, no, massively. And I say massive well done to the under-15s, and say best of luck for the rest of your careers as well. Hopefully that's a real nice springboard for you. Right, Danny, time now to delve into your career here at Watford. And of course, we can see some of the clubs that you've played for throughout the season. To be fair, I joked with Tommy. I did say it's the biggest graphic we've had of clubs played for, because Tommy's got quite a long list as well. But of course, a lot of those in your early career were loan moves, of course. So get a great chance to get some experience in your beginning of your career as well.
Yeah, listen, 100%. I look at the list now and it's massive, but I always took it as at least someone always wanted me at their football club. So, listen, going out on loan at an early age, yeah, it did stand me in good stead. I think I had a couple of unsuccessful loans at Derby and Leeds, which I had to learn from very quickly. So, you know, there's always a learning curve, and I try to take things, you know, if it's a negative and try and turn it into a positive, and I felt as though I'd done that quite well throughout my career. So going on loan was probably a big part of my career early on.
Do you think, Danny, sometimes I used to look at my list and think nobody's played for more clubs than I have. I've just realised I was wrong. But do you think those loans, I know I did something exactly the same, probably at the end of my career, I went and had 3 loans in a season when I was at Birmingham. Do you think those loans helped you during that time? I know you say you try to put a positive spin on them, but it's also, it's like we're talking about the under-15s teams and learning from everything that happens. Do you think that those parts of your career drove you on to all your successes?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you look at it, the early years, I went on loan to Leeds, Derby, didn't really do well, sort of went back to Middlesbrough. Then my third loan, I went to Carlisle, sort of hit the ground running, scored 7 and 11, signed, had 2 really good seasons there, and then obviously the Watford, Swansea. Then when I signed to Sunderland, then comes the other loans, Middlesbrough, Wolves, and every time I went on loan from Sunderland, I always end up going back and end up getting back into the first team on 2 or 3 different occasions. So I did kind of use them to sort of fuel myself and try and prove people wrong all the way throughout my career.
Of course, you came to Watford from Carlisle. How did that all come about?
It was actually Brendan Rodgers who put the deal in place. I remember being on holiday, getting a phone call saying Watford are interested. You know, when you're back, could you come and speak to them? I was obviously, of course, yes. And by the time I'd got back, Brendan had moved on to Reading, and Marky Mackay took over. And thankfully, you know, it took obviously a few more weeks to get the deal done, but Marky followed up on the interest what Brendan had shown, and you know, as I say, the rest is history.
Well, let's take a look at the stats then from your time here at Watford as well, because you liked a goal or two as well. A couple of great seasons as well, 27 goals in that 10-11 season as well. So some real good memories and some real good performances from you as well. 98 performances, 41 goals. Top goal scorer in both those seasons as well, and a Player of the Season award to boot as well. Any particular moments that really stand out for you from your time here at Watford?
Listen, all of them. I think if you look at the first season, I had 14 goals, but midway through the season, I lost my place for a good number of games to Heide Helgeson, and I remember sitting on the bench thinking, I want to be out there, I want to be playing. But it was at that point I kind of tried to watch Heide. He was an older pro. You always seem to find space in between the right full-back and right centre-half, or the left full-back, left centre-half. His hold-up play, I tried to pick bones out of his games, which could sort of help me moving forward. So although I was out of the team and frustrated and ended up finishing top goal scorer, was great, but I also learned a hell of a lot of Heide that first season, and I think I took that into the next season, where obviously I got 27 goals, and we had a great season, all of us, considering we were tipped for relegation at the start of the season.
I played with H as well, Danny. He used to frustrate me because he made everything look so easy, and I knew that I knew it wasn't, but he made it look so easy. And then every header he went for, he was like he was 8'2" jumping for a header. What do you think? Some combinations work with different strike partners. Tell us about the ones that you had here.
So obviously, I think if you look, obviously back then I was a bit more pacier than I was in the latter part of my career, obviously. But me and Heide were kind of target men as such. We played a few games together and it didn't quite work. And obviously Heide had come back in, and I think he'd scored 2 after coming on the sub against Leicester, and sort of hit the ground running. And he was finding form, and my form would dip. So rightly so, he played. And then the second season, obviously, I had Marvin Sardell, who was an exciting, raw young talent coming through. He had pace, he could go left foot, right foot, and we kind of struck up a really good relationship, me and Marv. I think he had 15 goals as well, so between us, you're looking at 40-odd goals. And that worked quite well in the second season. And, Troy had come in that season from Walsall, and, he couldn't really get a look in at that time because of the form of me and Marvin, really.
Obviously that season as well, some great performances from yourself and the team as well. Have you got particular standout kind of matches that really stick in your mind? Maybe it would be first goal or something like that, especially here at Vicarage Road as well. There's always a special atmosphere here when you get your first goal for a club.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to do that on my debut against Doncaster, getting my first goal, and moving from Carlisle to Watford, there was probably a lot of fans thinking, who's this young kid we've signed, and he's probably not going to do the business or what have you. So to get a goal early was nice. I think I started the season really strongly as well with a good goal return. I would probably say the most enjoyable game was QPR away. I think in the second season they were flying, they were unbeaten at home, and we rocked up on a Friday night and give them a good turnover, which was a special evening.
You're a Watford Player of the Season as well in 2011. Obviously, some players enjoy getting those personal accolades. Some people aren't massive fans of them, but a tremendous honour either way for you to win a Player of the Season award. Yeah,
it was a tremendous honour. Personally, I'm not a big fan of individual awards. There's 11 players on the pitch, and now there's 5 subs that can come on and be involved. So it's a squad game. It is nice to pick them up, but would I overly look at it as a massive achievement? Not really, no, because that certainly that second season we were favourites to go down, and I think by February we were within touching distance of the playoffs, and we just kind of faded off. The squad wasn't big enough, so I felt as though everyone had a chance of winning that season.
And just finally, your career in general, of course, you finished up at Sunderland and obviously wrapped up then, but you look back at it on reflection, you must be pretty pleased with what you achieved.
Yeah, listen, if you would have said as a young boy growing up, a daft lad from Gateshead would play over 600 Football League games and appearances, I would have laughed at you, probably. But yeah, I kind of have more time now to reflect and have a look back, and I'm immensely proud to have played that number of games, and would have liked to have scored more goals, 100%. I think any forward would say the same. But I ain't going to grumble. I had 18, 19 years as a professional footballer, and I lived my dream for a number of years.
Do you think sometimes you don't realise when you're playing how the stats back up your career, Danny? Now you've actually packed in playing a little bit early, I might add, Maybe you could have increased those stats, but now you have packed it in. Do you look back and think, you know, I actually did, like you mentioned the daft lad from Gateshead, I was the daft lad from Billingham. You know, you look back on it and you think, well, actually I did all right, because you don't have time while you're playing, do you?
No, you don't have time at all, no. And I was never one of them to sort of listen to the hype or anything like that. I just kind of rode with it, and you know, I was always a player who would want to be playing, and you know, I had a great season at Swansea. The following season I wasn't playing, and you know, I didn't see that I was going to be playing, so I moved on in aid to get first team football, and I wanted to rack up as many senior games as I could. And yeah, listen, I've played over 120 games in the Premier League. I've played probably 300 odd in the Championship, and probably another 100 or so in League One. So I'm absolutely delighted with them numbers. And I do look back now, and obviously I must have been a half decent centre forward to have racked up them number of games.
It's been more than half decent to rack that many goals up. And just finally, for this bit of the show, what's life for you now? I know you've hung up your boots. Is it a moment of reflection? Do you want to get into a bit of coaching, management? Where do you see yourself moving forward?
No, not coaching. Too much time. I've spent a lot of time away from the wife and kids as it is. So I've kind of had a bit of downtime to spend with them, and just little simple things, taking the kids to school, picking them up, stuff like that. But I think I want to go down the agency side as a sort of agent mentor, in terms of looking after the players, like younger players, and watching clips with them, trying to give them advice on and off the pitch. I feel as though that's something I could be quite useful at.
I wish you all the best for that. Time now then for Tommy's favourite part of the show, Danny. You're going to enjoy this. It's a little game that we like to call Ask Tommy. Very simple. I'm going to ask him some questions, which will be relatively tough. And then a little bit later on the show, I'm going to ask you some questions which will be relatively easy. And we'll see how you get on. We have a bit of a tiebreaker at the end. So, Tommy?
Honestly, Danny, you'll be embarrassed how easy your questions are, and scared.
I'll probably
for
still
mine.
get them wrong.
Let's hope not. Right, yeah. Tommy, first question for you is always about golf.
Yeah.
Golf question for you. Which former #1 tennis player has signed up to play in the Icon Golf Series alongside Harry Kane and Pep Guardiola? Is it A, Serena Williams?
Barty.
Correct. Ash Barty it is. Well done. Got that.
That's my one, Dan. That's all right. That's what
1
you've got
point on the board. There we go. Question 2. Question 2. Our guest this evening, Danny, started his professional career where? Middlesbrough, Leeds United or Derby County?
Middlesbrough.
Correct. 2 points on the board.
You said these were hard.
I know. To be fair,
we've covered a lot of the answers in the show so far, so this is going to prove whether he's been listening or not, if we're completely honest. Next question. Danny scored several goals for Watford in pre-season and scored on his competitive debut for the club in a 1-1 draw with Doncaster Rovers. But was it at home or away?
Oh, I'm sure Danny's just said it was at Vicarage Road, so I'm going to go home.
Sure.
Don't try and second guess me. Yes, home.
Correct. 3 points. Final question for you then.
I've never got 3 before ever. I promise you it's not.
It's all right. Your first question is going to be what's your name, so it's all right. Question 4. In 2011, Danny scored against Derby County to equal the Watford record for the most goals scored in consecutive matches, finding the net for how many games in a row? 7, 6 or 8?
Did he equal the record?
Equalled the Watford record.
I did 6, so I'm going 6.
It was 7.
Who got that?
Don't know, but according to the internet, it's 7.
Sometimes the internet's wrong, Danny. Did you know that?
Not always. Not in my quiz. It's not.
3
points. 3 points. for you, Tommy. Danny will come to you a little bit later on with your questions to see how you get on. So 3 points is the target to beat for that one a bit later on. But time now for the important questions on the show, which are the ones that have come from you at home, the fans. So thank you very much to all of you who've taken the time to do that so far. Of course, if you're watching live on YouTube, pop them in the comments section below. Or of course, on Twitter, use the hashtag of Inside The Hive and tweet us at Watford FC. First question comes from Reddy1981. How old were you when you started playing football?
A lot of people don't know this. I was actually 17. I'd signed in the October of the second year YTS. I was playing Northern League for Chesley Street, and a certain Mr. Ron Bourne scouted me, and that's where it all started.
Tommy, how about for you? Because obviously you mentioned playing rugby. I don't think we asked you this one yet this year, but for you, obviously you mentioned rugby. Were you kind of like a multi-sport kid, and then you just picked in on football eventually?
No, I played rugby at a much higher level as a schoolboy than I did football. I didn't even get in my county team as a footballer, whereas rugby I played every game. And I was a schoolboy at Middlesbrough where Danny started, but they never offered me a YTS. So I was playing non-league football until exactly the same as Danny. Actually, I went to Aston Villa as a second year YTS because I was playing for Billingham Synthonia for 18 months.
Nice. Next question comes from Becca. Who was your best mate while you were at Watford?
Probably Mariappa. We were speaking off air. He lived around the corner from me. We used to car share every day into training and stuff. So yeah, listen, I got on well with everyone, but if I had to pick one who I would say I was closest to, was probably Maps.
Nice. Next question comes from Tom Avery. What was the best Watford away day that you played in?
Good question. Millwall away stands out, 6-1. I think that was an unbelievable game. But for me, I think the QPR one, the QPR away beats it. They were on such a high. They were flying. They were unbeaten at home. And like I said previously, we rocked up there and turned them over comfortably, and it was a great evening.
Nice. How about you, Tommy? Favourite away day?
Away days. Tough to beat Wembley in '99.
Sure,
that's difficult. And obviously, Liverpool in the Premier League. I think there's something about the travelling Watford fans, and Danny, I'd hope would agree. It's the noise that they make away from home is double what you get at Vicarage Road sometimes. So all away days. I remember one at Blackburn as well during the petrol strike, and I think there was still about 90 of the supporters that made it up there, and Graham Taylor made sure that we all went over to them at the end of the game because they'd made a great effort to support us on that night, and we'd won 4-3.
Nice, very special indeed. Right, you might have to give some context to this next answer, Danny. This question comes from Jordan. How did it feel being Watford's table tennis champion? Talk us through that one.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's better than being player of the season.
Yeah, way better. Yeah, it's quite ironic. Listen, I can't remember who done it now. It might have been one of the media guys. After the table tennis competition, I think I played Don Cowie in the final and wiped the floor with him. I've actually got in my house. I wish I'd have known this before because I would have brought it round. I've still got it now. There's a table tennis bat with an actual table tennis on top of it, and it's got like a plaque on the handle. The table tennis champion. I've still got it at home.
And what was that? That was just training ground, relaxation time, and you all had a table tennis table, I guess.
Yeah, there was a table tennis in the canteen, and everyone played. The older pros, the younger pros, the youth team. We got everyone involved, and I can't remember who it was now, but someone had suggested let's do a tournament, get everyone involved, have a bit of team spirit, a bit of team bonding and stuff. And the canteen was full with 40, 50 lads watching the games, and it was just great fun, to be fair.
Nice, love that. Tommy, do you have any training ground antics like that?
No, we never. I don't remember us having the table tennis table at the training ground. It was more a case of watching videos. After we finished training with Graham Taylor, we were watching videos for a good couple of hours. There was no analysts then. It was fast forward and rewind.
Nice. Final question for you then, Danny, comes from Wayne Routledge, and he would like to know, who is your favourite teammate?
Mr. Routledge himself, of course it is. Of course it is.
You told us it was maps off air. He said you never even got on with Routledge. No, it wasn't. Wayne, I'm telling you, he did tell us the truth.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, Wayne.
Great answers. Thank you very much for all your questions. As always, if you want to get in touch, you know how to do it by now. Comment section below, and of course on Twitter at Watford FC, and use the hashtag of Inside the Hive. Chance for more of your questions a little bit later on. Now, talking of questions, our Junior Hornets have been having fun during their Easter holiday break, and they came down to the training ground to ask some questions with the manager, Roy Hodgson.
Boys and girls, thank you very much. Would you rather be in the dome playing forward than talking to me here? Here?
What is the best question you've ever been asked in an interview?
What a great question that is. Just off the top of my head, and there's probably others, was when David Bernstein, who at the time was the chairman of the English Football Association, asked me if I would like to be the manager of the England football team. I obviously said yes. I think that's probably the best question I was ever asked. Just behind that, maybe, was when I was asked to be the manager of Inter in Milan. That was a nice moment too. But if I had to choose one, I'd choose that question, which I got from David Bernstein. Would you like to become the new manager of England?
So, what is your favourite Avenger character?
Oh dear, you got me there, Zach, I'm afraid. I'm far too old and too serious these days. I don't read Avenger comics or books. In fact, it's a major problem for me. I like quiz programs, and I think I'm quite good at quiz programs. But then you get questions like this: what's your favourite Avengers character, or who plays Mrs. So-and-so in EastEnders? And I'm finished because I don't know. I never watch them, so I've got no idea, I'm afraid. Who's your favourite?
Mine is Thor. Thor.
Door? D-O-R?
T. H.
Oh, Thor. Oh yeah, Thor, the famous Norwegian god. Yes. All right. I'll take that one then. In future, if I'm ever seeing Avengers, I'll also take Thor as well, like you. Thor's good. The god of thunder.
A great day for our Junior Hornets there, asking questions of Roy Hodgson. Tommy, obviously it's not going to be one that I've asked you. What's the best question you've ever had?
Definitely not any of the questions that you've ever had. The strangest one I had, actually, I was at Sheffield United and I hit the post with a free kick at Liverpool that would have sent us through on away goals in the semi-final of the Carling Cup. And I did a post-match interview, and the reporter said, "Are you disappointed you hit the post and never scored?" I'm like, what do you think, you idiot? Of course I'm disappointed.
How about you, Danny?
Oh, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I remember missing an open goal for Carlisle away at Southend.
I blocked all of them out, Danny. There's far too many of them for me to remember. I blocked them all out.
And the reporter kind of asked me, "How did you miss that?" And I was kind of stuck for words, to be honest. So
did you remain polite?
I just said, "Move on, please."
Love that. Well, a cracking day there for our Junior Hornets there. And of course, if you want to get involved in that, there's always plenty of ways you can get. Lots of things coming your way for our Junior Hornets as well. And of course, there'll be a chance for you to get involved with our Fun Day, which is coming up very soon as well, which I believe is against the Coventry United for the women's game as well. So do make sure you get involved with that. Okay, where shall we go next? Let's go on to a 60-second challenge. Tommy, how are you feeling? You've been knocked down a few pegs recently in the last few weeks. The last couple of weeks, you dropped down the table.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed in myself. I always blame myself first, and I'll be better. If I ever get another go, I'll be much better.
Okay, well, we'll see if we can get that extra go for you towards the end of the season. Taking on the 60-second challenge today is Raya Weiss.
Hi, my name is Raya, and this is my 60-second challenge.
Last minute winner or hat-trick?
Last minute winner.
Football manager or FIFA?
FIFA.
Coach or train to away games?
Coach.
Most famous person on your phone?
Rosie Camilla.
Best dish you can cook?
Chicken and rice.
Childhood hero.
David Ginola.
First football boots.
Predators.
Home games or away games.
Home games.
Ronaldo or Messi.
Oh, Messi.
Favourite sport other than football.
Basketball.
iPhone or Android.
iPhone.
Favourite movie.
Blood Diamond.
Fancy restaurant or takeaway.
Fancy restaurant.
VAR, love it or hate it.
Hate it.
Best stadium apart from Vicarage Road.
Tottenham Stadium.
Favourite song.
No idea.
Skiing or snowboarding.
Skiing.
Favourite musician or group.
Beyonce.
First car you owned.
Vauxhall Corsa. The song one was hard. Favourite song?
Yeah, it's like...
There you go, Tommy. You didn't lose a place this week.
It's not as easy as I made it look, is it?
Well, as we've discovered, you just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't think about saying a favourite movie that makes you look cool. Just say Love Actually. We know how it rolls. It's fine. There'll be more 60-second challenge coming up next week, and we'll see if Tommy can cling on to his place in the leaderboard towards the end of the season. Right, let's look at what's coming up then at the club. As we mentioned just a short while ago, the Junior Hornets, of course, you can get in touch and get involved with that. juniorhornets.watfordfc.com. Membership packages, giveaways, chance for you to get involved, and of course that Junior Hornets Fun Day here at Vicarage Road Stadium, Sunday the 1st of May at Coventry United as the women's team take them on. So make sure you get involved with that. juniorhornets.watfordfc.com. Lots of deals happening in the club shop right now if you want to get your hands on this season's shirt. Adults is just £25, junior is £20. shop.watfordfc.com. And of course, coming up this weekend, Manchester City versus Watford, 3 o'clock kickoff. Tommy is making the trip to the Etihad to be on commentary duties for that. And you can stay tuned to all the club's channels for all the details and all the build-up and reaction to that match at the weekend. And if you are going up to the game, I do wish you a very safe travels. So ahead of that match then this weekend, Roy Hodgson has been speaking to the media today. Let's hear what he had to say.
Well, it's not a happy hunting ground in recent history for Watford, obviously all before your time. It's not a happy hunting ground for many teams, to be fair.
It's never been one for me either.
Well, I don't know, you've done all right recently up there, haven't you? I think you won one and drawn one.
We won one and drew one, and then we lost 1-4-0 after a very good 55 minutes. But when the first one went in, we conceded 3 more. But yeah, we've done okay up there. You know, we've done what teams like ourselves, Crystal Palace, you know, when I was at Fulham, teams like that can do, i.e. work very hard to be well organised and try and frustrate the opposition, because we haven't been good enough, any of the teams I've coached at Man City, to go toe-to-toe with them.
Well, there we go then. Thoughts of the manager, Roy Hodgson, ahead of the trip to the Etihad at the weekend. Tommy, we've kind of alluded it to already. It's a game that you kind of go into, and we know what the challenge Man City present is. But sometimes when there's no pressure on a game like that, you never know what can happen.
No, absolutely. They have to show unity. They have to stick together. Whatever the scoreline is, it's a result that counts. So you've always got a chance up until that last minute. But we've seen last night at home to Brighton, it took them a long time to break the deadlock. And the longer you stay at 0-0 away at Man City, then the stronger you feel.
Danny, when you're going away to teams like that, you mentioned, of course, with Sunderland, you picked up results against the Chelseas and some of those teams. Is that the aim of the game? Just stay in it as long as you can?
100%, yeah. Try and frustrate them. You know, it's tough to do, don't get me wrong. They'll have a lot of the ball, but if you can stay compact and, you know, well organised in shape and keep the score at 0-0 going in at half-time, then, you know, kind of fills you with a bit of belief that you could maybe nick one on the break or a set piece, whatever it may take to get a goal. You just never know. Listen, you go there, they might have an off day. I know they don't have many of them, but you can frustrate them and hopefully they'll have an off day. You just never know. You may pick up a point or maybe sneak a 3 points in the bag.
Yeah, no, massively. And of course, as I said, if you're travelling to that one, have a safe journey. Keep up to date on all the social media channels for all the updates on that. Okay, Danny, this is the moment of the show that I know you've been really waiting for. It's your turn for the game of Ask Tommy. It's time to play Ask Danny. 3 points are on the board from Tommy. We do have a tiebreaker question, which we ask anyway, because it's always a bit of fun at the end. But fingers crossed, you're going to get 4 out of 4. Question 1. Playing for Middlesbrough, you scored your first Premier League goal on the 27th of February 2005. But who was it against?
Like anybody's ever going to forget that, Danny.
It was actually against Charlton and I got knocked out.
It was Charlton Athletic. Correct. Yeah, was that part of the celebration or was that part of the goal you got knocked out?
So I've headed the ball over the keeper, and as I've headed it, Chris Perry's flew and volleyed me face and knocked me clean out.
That would have been that's a good reason to forget your first goal, actually.
I believe me, I wouldn't have forgot that.
So you couldn't even celebrate it then when you scored it?
No, I was out for a little while as well, to be fair. Jeez. So no, I didn't even know I scored. I asked the physio who'd scored and he said you, and I was just a complete daze.
Wow, 1 point on the board. Anyway, right, question 2. Tommy made his Watford debut versus which of your former clubs? Is it Sunderland, Blackburn Rovers or Swansea?
Normally I'd give you a nod, but as I've got 3, I've got a chance of winning here.
So, who was it again?
Sunderland, Blackburn Rovers or Swansea?
It wouldn't have been Swansea. Blackburn.
Correct answer, Tommy.
Sunderland.
Sunderland. It's all right. You still got 2 questions left to force the tie. It's all right. Right. You finished your first season as Watford's top goal scorer, but with how many goals?
14.
Correct. Point on the board.
Is it?
I'm sweating here.
Right.
You just want the tiebreaker to actually mean something.
I know, the tiebreaker's never meant anything before. Never. Right. Question 4. You won the 2011 Player of the Season award, but how many times did Tommy win that accolade? None, once, 2 times, or 3 times? Tommy, look at Tommy, I've never seen you keep such a straight face. He's like,
you know what, I'm like, a win's a win. I'm sorry, Danny, I like you. I really respect you as a player and as a person, but I want to beat you.
What are you going for, Danny? Twice? Correct. 3 points apiece. Okay, the tiebreaker actually means something at last.
I'm actually gutted. I can blow this. I've got so close and I can blow it.
Right, Danny, you finished your playing career at Sunderland, but from this very seat here at Vicarage Road, these are Tommy's favourite questions, the distance ones, how far is it fastest route to the Stadium of Light? Now, the answer is between 200 and 300 miles. Tommy gets to guess first, and then you get to go higher or lower, Danny. So, it's between 200 and 300 miles, fastest route to the Stadium of Light.
Normally, Danny, I would go bang in the middle of the 2 that he offers me. But as you know, I am from the northeast, so I think, depending on which way his map has sent you, which is not normally the right way, I am going to go, it's 185 to where you're sat there now. No, it's not actually, that's from my house. You got another 100 on top of that.
You were sounding so confident.
I was confident, yeah. 285. I'm going to go, it's between 200 and 300.
Yeah.
Your sat-nav's ridiculous. I'm going to go 280.
280. Danny, do you want to go higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower. The correct answer is 265. Danny, you have snatched the victory from Tommy. He's not happy. He's fuming. Genuine. It's the last search on my phone. I'll show you it full time.
I don't care about seeing it on your phone. I genuinely don't care about seeing it on your phone. There's no way it's 260 odd miles from here.
260 odd miles. You don't think it's 260 miles to Stadium of Light from here?
I don't believe it. I don't care about your phone either.
Here we go. I've got it here. It's the last thing I did. Here we go. So there we go.
Which way?
I don't know if you can see that. Stadium of Light. I've done it there.
Have you pressed direction?
And then I've gone fastest route, 4 hours and 16 minutes currently. The fastest route, 265 miles. Do you want to have a look?
No, I don't.
Always questions it every single week. He just can't take, he has to lose now and again. But anyway.
Tommy, now and again, that's the closest I've ever come to winning, Danny. I've never been in it for the tiebreaker.
There we go. Danny, congratulations. You are the winner of Ask Tommy once again, another guest winner. So thank you very much for playing along for a bit of fun.
Well done,
but we will finish with the important questions once again, the fans' questions. The first one comes from Harry Plough. What was your favourite Watford goal?
West Brom. I think it was the only goal I scored outside the box. It was a volley. I think we were down to 10 men at the time as well, so I would say my best goal was the West Brom volley.
Nice. Talk us through it. Outside the box, where did it come from? Who gave the assist?
I think it was a long ball, and Don Cowie sort of nudged it to the side with his head, and I was running alongside him and sort of, you know, as a striker, took over and volleyed it from the edge of the box, and it flew into the bottom corner.
Nice. Love that. Next question comes from Grace. Who's the best player you ever played with?
Oh, that is difficult. Attacking wise, look, Stefan Sessegnon, who was at Sunderland, he was unbelievable on his day. I've played with that many players, it's hard, you know. I've been to about 44 different clubs, so it's a tough one. I'll go Sessegnon.
That's a good answer. Love that. Kean would like to know, who's the hardest opponent that you faced in the training?
In training? Probably at Sunderland, playing up against Wes Brown and John O'Shea, Titus Bramble, people like that were always tough to play against. I had a lot of Premier League experience, and Shazy and Wes had won Champions League, so I'd probably say them.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte Gibson would like to know, obviously, 2 great seasons at the club and then you left. Would you have liked to stay longer, and what were the kind of factors behind you moving on?
Listen, I would love to have stayed longer, yeah, but as a professional footballer, you want to try and reach the highest level possible. And, you know, after I had 2 great seasons at Watford, obviously, and I loved every minute of it. I loved the football club and what it was about. But the lure of the Premier League was too much to turn down, and I don't think anyone would turn the Premier League down in the right mind.
No, for sure. Final question comes from Alex. Is it true that you've got your own clothing brand? Because if it is, you've missed a trick tonight, because unless you've still got a sponsorship deal, that's not your own clothing brand. Unless we never know, it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got Nike, yeah. No, listen, yes, it is true. It's more... the clothing brand is like an athlete, a leisure wear and stuff like that. But the stuff I want to get into is club shops and club strips. So we kind of a bespoke company where teams can design their own kits or their own T-shirts or hoodies and stuff like that. So yes, it is true, and it's a work in progress and one I'm thoroughly enjoying at the minute.
Nice. I don't know if that's come from a fan or your business partner or someone that works for you that's thrown that question to end the show, but love that. Anyway, Danny, look, pleasure to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for your time. We absolutely loved having you on.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
No
nice to see you, Dan.
Yeah, massively. Thank you very much, Danny. Tommy, good fun as always. And it genuinely, I've shown you the map. That's the distance. You're going the long way then. It's taking
I'm driving to Sunderland right now, and I'm going to call you when I get there in 5 hours time.
Set your trip on your car. Thank you to Tommy. Massive thank you to Danny, and of course a big thank you to you as always for joining us on a Thursday night. The show's not complete without you. So thank you so much for sending all your questions in as always. If you're travelling away to Man City at the weekend, have a safe journey, and we'll see you again here live next Thursday at Vicarage Road.